I also saw that some different outlets and individuals have gotten codes to try Outer Worlds 2 early. And this morning, there's been a couple of impressions posted. Everyone's reaction is meh. Have you watched them? Who all did it? The reaction I've seen is basically meh, 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 meh. That's never something you want to hear about a game that they were going to try to charge $80 for, you know? It's like, eh. You never want to see that. Maddie said it's eh. Maddie gave it meh. Definitely doesn't have that our game was funded by Microsoft feel we had hoped when they were bought. Rip Obsidian, a shadow of what it once was. I just hope it wasn't front-loaded. Best content in 1 came from the opening hours, didn't reach that quality again until the DLC. After mid-first game of Avowed, I don't feel excited. Dude, and this, Maddie's community is like pretty hardcore into RPGs, into Fallout, into like, Maddie's community are the ones that would be rooting for this. So if his community is like, eh, that's not great. Maddie and Jay were both meh. Really? I don't want to watch like the full thing, but I do want to hear, like, is there a tidbit?
I like Obsidian RPGs. I just feel with the doubt around it being an $80 game at one point, and now the latest companion trailer being absolutely destroyed, I feel like the slice of the game you have to show to people like me has to be way, way more convincing. And it's not, so I'm not.
Well, I mean, that's the danger is if they're showing you something that's just like, eh, you got to remember these previews, they typically are showing you the best that they have to offer. They're not going to like lead with their worst foot. You know, it's why typically, whether it's Dragon Age or it's, well, Dragon Age Veilguard is a perfect example where the previews are really encouraging and are really like, wow, they might have actually pulled this off. And then you look a little bit deeper and you're like, oh, that was literally the only good stuff in the game. Like you showed me the really good stuff, but that was it. Like that was the whole thing. And, you know, you would just hope for a little bit more. You'd hope for a little bit more. It's just really too bad. It's too bad. GameSpot also, this is funny. The title of the video is Outer Worlds 2 lets you roleplay a space moron. The top comment is, I thought the title said Space Mormon, and I'm incredibly disappointed.
Who stumbled ass backwards into his job, which I identify with. I played about an hour of Outer Worlds 2, the opening segment, and here's my 5 big takeaways. The humor and world building are both still really strong, really fun. The gunplay is improved. There's lots of different ways to deal with situations, and if you liked the first Outer Worlds, this is more of that. It's just better.
What in the void was going on out there? Did you think shooting up the place was a good idea right now?
So, first of all, it's just really funny. The Outer Worlds has always had...
I don't know why. It always scares me when a games journalist says something is funny. I like brace. Like, oh God, here we go. Maybe that's unfair of me. Maybe I'm just a sassy little boy, but whenever I hear a game journalist being like, it's really witty, I'm like, oh God.
A knack for humor. It's very writerly humor.
In the parlance of Agent Pascal, some crazy, censored.
I played as a roustabout,
That's funny.
which means you have no real skills. You just kind of fell into this commander position, and you bumble your way through every situation. Sort of like Zap Brannigan from Futurama, if he were in Outer Worlds.
I can fly it, sir. I just need to know where and how.
That opened all sorts of dialogue options and avenues that were genuinely making me laugh. At one point, someone asked me, like, why are you doing this? And I was like, look, man, I don't know. I'm improvising.
What? I've never heard anyone else admit to such a thing.
Because you're just kind of floating through life in space, which is a really funny comic conceit. The world building is still really strong, partly because it's so funny. It's this strong sense of satire, mocking up like corporations and governments and the cooperation between them.
Whether against corrupt corporations, tyrannical governments, or corrupt corporations in league with tyrannical governments.
And
it is a little funny. It is a little funny that this is coming from a company owned by Microsoft. I mean, a $4 trillion company. But yeah, down with the corpos.
putting it in the context of space, but like a pretty thin layer of satire. They're not exactly gilding the lily. You know exactly what kinds of things they're mocking.
Haven't you heard? We're the best and brightest. We infiltrate corrupt governments before breakfast most days.
And as a person bubbling through all this, it gives you kind of a unique comic perspective, but that was only one of several different origin stories I could have chosen. The gunplay, I think if anything, feels improved. I mostly had a pistol for most of my time. I was going with a sneaky route, so I was stabbing dudes in the back, mostly in the butt, and I was shooting them with my pistol, which felt really good, just squeezing off shots quickly. At one point,
Squeezing off shots. What a weird way to say that. I like pinching off shots. Just it's a light pinch. I mean, initially you squeeze, but then you got to pinch off the shot. That's the key.
when I got a higher powered rifle, that felt really good and powerful. But both of them felt really good and impactful. And because it's an Obsidian game, there's lots of different ways to deal with the same situation. You can sneak, you can talk to people, you can shoot your way through, you can muscle your way through. I actually had to talk somebody into calling the guards on me because he was so devoted, because that was the only way to get across a bridge.
Huh. It's interesting. Luke, salutations from Mexico. Thank you for the great content and stay true, brother. Also, wink if you have information about The Expanse. Not really. I mean, I would like to. If they have info they could send me, I'd be happy to do that. But I don't know anything else beyond what everybody else knows. So not really. Anyway, I mean, all of this, it's so weird. It's so weird. I feel like sometimes you look at a game and you just got to follow your gut. Like the gut vibes are powerful. You remember that first announcement trailer for Expedition 33? I remember seeing that while we were co-streaming the event. Like I remember the first time we saw that reveal trailer. Just being like, wow, this looks like something special. Just immediately, you get the vibe. This is something that's going to be special. Even if it's only 6 hours long, it still is probably going to be remarkable. And it just, whether it's the artwork or it's the performances or the music.
And everyone of that age vanishes into nothingness.
Oh.
Every year she paints again. And every year, an expedition departs for the continent with one hopeless mission. Destroy the paintress so she can never paint death again.
Then they seamlessly transition to gameplay.
So she can't steal anyone else's future.
This world is full of wonders.
Yet everywhere we go, we walk with death.
Do you mean we're the only ones left?
I only wanted to watch a few seconds of this, but it's so good.
Even if we fail,
it's so good.
We lay the trail for those who will come after.
For those who come after.
Right. We are Expedition 33.
So good. But from the moment you see it, you're like, this is something special. It just tickles you in your spot, the spot that makes you excited for games. And I feel like with Outer Worlds 2, I just have not seen anything that gets me excited in that way. Like I maybe it is gonna be, an amazing game. I just haven't seen that hook. I haven't seen that thing, because what everybody says is it's more Outer Worlds 2, which is not necessarily bad. It's just not that thrilling or exciting, and one of my frustrations with modern Obsidian is that modern Obsidian feels like they are games crafted from the ground up for Game Pass. Like they are games you probably wouldn't buy at full price normally, because they're just not that amazing. They're fine or even good, but they're not probably $70 good, But they're fantastic values on Game Pass. You download it, you can get 20, 30, 40 hours out of them and have a good time, And I feel like that mentality of producing something good enough for Game Pass, but not necessarily good enough for $70 has just kind of spilled across into all of their projects. It's why I've said, like, maybe don't get your hopes up too high for like a Fallout New Vegas 2 or remake from them, because it probably would end up playing like Outer Worlds. It wouldn't be like a perfect return to form for New Vegas. It would be, pretty good, but it probably wouldn't be that masterpiece that you have in mind. So, I mean, I think it's probably going to be good. but it's, you know, one of those Game Pass games. It's like a C plus, B minus, which is not bad. I'm really struggling to get excited for it. You know, I'm really struggling to get excited for it, which is too bad. It's really too bad because I have historically really liked Obsidian stuff, but I just can't bring myself to get like super hyped for it. And it sounds like a lot of the impressions are just kind of like meh. You guys said JV also was kind of meh. Oh, you got to play 4 hours of it. That's good, though.
And you know what? I came away fairly impressed with how different the situations could turn out based on these decisions, just in the beginning prologue of the game. So let's start with the character creation.
I mean, that's good. That's good. But as always, like Outer Worlds was really front-loaded. The first one, as I recall it, they had a lot of effort put into the opening bit, and then it got really, really dry as it went on. But it's been a while since I played it. To be fair, it's been a while. But I don't know. We'll check it out. We'll check it out. I just am not expecting this to be like an $80 game. You know, I'm not expecting probably even 70. It's probably a pretty good game and nothing more, which is not necessarily bad, but it's good enough for Game Pass, which I think tells you everything you need to know. As for further coverage, I have no idea. Let's see. Polygon did a preview. Outer Worlds 2, Corporate Greed Never Looked So Good. Uh-oh. If Polygon likes it. No, I'm kidding. Let's see. First hour has layers and layers of role-playing opportunities. Outer Worlds 2 feels like a much more ambitious RPG than its predecessor. PC Gamer is typically pretty good. I played its prologue 3 times with different builds. Each felt unique. Oh, so we actually got to go through it 3 different times. That's cool. That's exciting. I liked but didn't love the first game in 2019, but the Outer Worlds 2's opening has me thinking this one's headed in the right direction. As long as the team at Obsidian can sustain the mechanical freedom and reactivity I saw over the course of the full game. So, I mean, JV says he liked the intro bits, and now PC Gamer is also echoing that in the first hour or so there's a lot of variability. That's really, really cool. Earth Directorate Captain on a mission to a secretive autocratic solar system that also happens to be the exclusive manufacturer of faster than light engines. The zany capitalist malfeasance of the first game's corporations has been turned in for a kooky cult of personality with a penchant for brainwashing. It's bliss. Okay. So different unjammed door requires the trait brawny. You can also use the engineering trait to achieve it as well. Okay, the gambler background, probably unique dialogue options and opportunities and stuff like that. Johnny Karate, what a name. I think that's Parks and Rec. Johnny Karate. Am I making that up? I think that's Parks and Recreation, I think. No, where's it? Johnny Spaghetti? I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched the show. I really dig this premise, moving in the direction of weirder, bigger sci-fi. Also, the Outer Worlds 2 just feels more expensive than anything Obsidian's made in a hot minute. It's not just the great art direction and shiny UE5 graphics, which it shares in common with Avowed. There's also a lot of touches that feel premium. The pre-rendered intro cinematic, a variety of unique animations and angles and conversations, not just the Oblivion stare, and way more in-engine cutscenes than I expected. It helps explain why Microsoft briefly thought it might get away with an $80 price tag before backing off. I mean, I do think they've spent a lot more money on this. I don't think that's a question. It's whether the customer feels like it's worth $80. And I just think, like, when you think $80 RPG, people are going to like Mass Effect. They're thinking of Baldur's Gate. They're thinking of like the best of the best. And this just, for whatever reason, doesn't feel quite like that way. But maybe it is. And it's just a matter of presenting it and convincing players that it is that good. Word of mouth could be really, really crucial for this if it really is phenomenal. Let's see. I mostly bring up character creation because I really dug the prosthetic options. You have 3 robo-limb aesthetics to choose from, each of your arms and legs, ranging from gunmetal skeleton hands to a swanky ivory ensemble like a swagged out Adam Jensen. It's a bit of a sci-fi flair that I really love, and something I was always missing from Cyberpunk 2077's otherwise superior character creation options. It's more streamlined than the first game in terms of stats and skills, but not in a way that offended my hardcore RPG sicko sensibilities. Attributes are gone, and at player or character creation. You pick a background, 1 to 2 positive traits, potentially 1 negative trait, and 2 tagged skills, 3 with the most OP trait. It's a reduction in complexity to the first game, but not necessarily depth. Skills look like they're raised on a smaller scale than the first game's Fallout like 0 to 100, but with each rank offering bigger gameplay boosts, as well as opening up more dialogue and environmental skill checks. So they streamlined the actual RPG like stat sheet, whatever you want to call it, but they tried to do that to also increase depth, which is possible. It's possible that if you are able to streamline and simplify it down and like compress the range of skills from 0 to 100, maybe it maxes out at 20. So after you level up 5 times, you can do more skill gates and checks as you go through. There's all sorts of things you could do. That's the thing that had me most excited from this demo. We're not quite in full Deus Ex or Dishonored territory, but I saw a lot of immersive sim light design that always makes me smile in an RPG. This prologue reminded me of the design in Obsidian's criminally underrated RPG Alpha Protocol, but much more polished. The better New Vegas quests like Beyond the Beef or Cyberpunk's excellent side gig Infiltrations. I played through the demo 3 times, twice going sneakily and once loud with different skill setups each time. This is really cool. I wish more RPGs would let people do this. Sorry, I keep swapping the wrong camera. I wish more RPGs would do this in previews and stuff. Like actually let people try 2-3 times different routes with different skills and loadouts and stuff and just see if they can find a different way to do it. I think that's super cool. The straight gunplay was satisfying enough that in that Fallout 4 sort of way, with a returning bullet time mechanic spicing things up. But the Outer Worlds 1 was all about wacky, weird guns with strange effects, and the pistol, rifle, dagger, and electric baton of the demo arsenal don't seem indicative of the full experience. Ghosting the demo, meanwhile, was a real treat. It doesn't look like the Outer Worlds 2 supports full pacifism. The first room on the sneaky route of the demo had a guard staring straight at the exit with no access to distraction tools yet, but there wasn't a single point where I was forced into a fight because enemies had been automatically alerted to my presence, the cardinal sin of RPGs that lets you build sneaky and then punish you for it. That was a problem that Star Wars Outlaws had. They had all of these like moments where they were like going stealth, but then they flip it, and then there's a scripted moment where everything breaks out, and it happened time and time again. It was honestly kind of frustrating. They patched it after launch and redid a lot of that stuff though. I was pleasantly surprised at how many skill checks were scattered in both dialogue and the environment. Science, engineering, and a few traits enabled access to explosive traps and an interaction with a deactivated security mech, while lockpicking and hacking both opened up pathways around enemies to aid with stealth. Using a dialogue check over the intercom to convince hapless guard to disable some of the security made him recognize my voice and distrust me when I needed him to lower a bridge for me later on. Oh, that's cool. That's honestly cool, because you tricked him once. Now he's also less prone to be tricked again. If I couldn't make the speech check to trade bridge access for a side quest to erase the demerits from his permanent record, saving him from re-education, I could always lockpick a nearby door with a path around him instead. Okay, that's cool. I like this stuff. The big question is just with all of these RPGs, how does it hold up in the long term? Because when you're building basically a tutorial level, of course you're going to have a lot of things to be like, see, you can do this and this and this. It's how you maintain that for like a 30-40 hour game. That's the tricky bit. That's a tricky bit. I could also provoke him into sicking security robots on me, which in a crucial design failure lowers the bridge anyway. But going loud like that would earn a tut-tut from my deep cover directorate contact in the facility. All throughout the demo, traits, skills, and my background unlocked proactive dialogue choices and unique offhand remarks. It's a style of scripted, authored reactivity that Obsidian has always excelled at. In this prologue portion of The Outer Worlds 2, it felt like my build and dialogue choices could offer a radically different experience each time through. Avowed caught a lot of flack for being a straight-up action RPG in the Mass Effect mold, while having a first-person perspective usually associated with more open-ended gameplay. I love Avowed for what it is, but The Outer Worlds 2 feels like it could offer more of that sort of immersive sim RPG style of game. Now it's just a question of whether Obsidian was able to sustain it or even expand on this prologue level's freedom over the course of the full game. So basically, it's like, if they can maintain this or even expand it, this is phenomenal. This is going to be really, really good, really something special. But if they can't maintain it, or if things simplify, things get compressed as time goes by, then it probably falls off a little bit and kind of falls flat. And that's been the struggle for Outer Worlds in the past was that they could kind of stagnate. But that's interesting. That's very interesting. So we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, I think they'll do more press and more stuff because they still have like 2 months. So there's going to be more previews. There's going to be reviews. There's going to be all sorts of stuff like that. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it develops.